Hey everyone, OT Lifehacker here. As I mentioned in my previous video, I'd be talking about ways that I had organized my volunteer experiences. And so I brought out my binder that I had to store all my experiences, and it has a list of the speech and physical therapy and applied behavior analysis and other activities that I had done. And this also includes more than just the disciplines working in the typical healthcare. So it also includes, I guess you would say, subjects of like falls prevention, because that was one of my areas of interest. So it also talks about falls prevention. And the purpose of this binder was to keep all of this organized so that I can better understand the bigger picture of what is occupational therapy, how does it work with all the other health disciplines, and how does it work to serve the population, meaning the people that we're working with. And so when I did this, I will show you how I had made myself a list. And it essentially is, should have put this in here, but it's essentially this. So I made myself an Excel sheet, and actually, so I started off, my Excel sheet started off with just the date and then my reflection and whatever setting that was. But when I thought about it for how I would better organize it, because you can always improve, right? So some tips that I learned for myself that could help you are doing it this way with the date. You can choose to put it or not, but always make sure, if you need to keep a log for your volunteering, to keep a detailed log of the date, hours worked. In this, for the purposes of this, you may or may not need a date. It's up to you. And then the location can be the specific location that you worked at, the name of the facilities, and or it could be the type of setting that you worked at. And that can be, should it be acute care, mental health, school setting, and then the population served means the people who you helped. So say if it is in, let's see, if we're talking about the occupational outpatient setting, then what populations are served by that setting? Or if you want to keep it even more specific to that one experience in that one day, you could talk about the people that you served in that one day. Say it's outpatient, maybe it was like older adults, or maybe it was an older adult, an adolescent, and then the reflection aspect. So in the reflection, key points that I honestly would have found a little helpful for myself going into it, what I'm learning as I'm going through school, is that these are really important things to consider when you get into practice, and just for knowing what OT is all about and how it differs from the other disciplines and how they serve the populations. So issues or challenges, problems that the clientele, meaning the people that you're serving, what issues they're experiencing, what they're there to have checked up on. And then from that, how are these issues, concerns addressed by the therapist or the person working with them? And what interventions are used to treat? What interventions are used? I hope when you see this that it's not flipped over, because on the screen as I'm seeing it, it looks like it's flipped over. So I'm getting a little distracted by that. But interventions or treatments used by the therapist. Such interventions means like, what are they doing to try to solve the problem or address the issue. And always ask yourself why. So you can think of this as an opportunity for you to research. Why is the therapist using that intervention? And you can also ask them. I wouldn't suggest asking them directly, why are you doing that? Because that might come across a little too strong. A better way of doing it could be, how did you come to choose that decision? Like, what are you basing this off of? And from your experience, so you could use this as an opportunity to ask the therapist or the person you're working it with, even if it's a student, what are some reasons they are doing it that way from their experience. Let's see, I think additional tips I want to point out. So some additional tips are that when you're organizing this, these pointers that I gave you for the reflection, so making sure you list what concerns are being addressed, how they are assessed, interventions used, for all of your practices, for all of the settings or populations or disciplines, whether it be physical, speech, or rehabilitation, any of the other settings that you work with, disciplines that you work with, you could follow this as a guide for yourself. And of course, there's other ways that you can do it. This is just a way that I find could have helped me better with organizing my notes and kept it more streamlined, because when you inundate yourself with a lot of different information, it can get a little overwhelming as you go through trying to figure out what's the differences and what's the similarities between the different populations you serve, different settings you work in, and different disciplines that you have to work with. All of that can get a bit overwhelming. So what I'm trying to share with you is things that I hope could help you in organizing your information. Other tips that I could give is that you could even create a Venn diagram for yourself, such as of the different disciplines, having one for speech, one for PT, rehabilitative therapist, or I'm sorry, I'm drawing a little bit of a blank on the name for that, but OTs, and then in the middle show the similarities they have, or even mind maps, which is another way of organizing information and showing relationships. So you could have that for different disciplines or even the different settings and populations you work with. All right, I think that is it for today. If there's anything else you would like to, anything else you want more clarification on or would like more insight into, feel free to ask below and I would gladly share as much as I can about that. All right, thank you for listening. Bye now.